primeiro.
Este quem é?
Não sei.
Guarda! Cá! Arma!
Algum dia passa, é isso.
Estou aqui para...
Já tem diafragma suficiente, não é?
Yeah. Pois.
Está bem, tu estás mais slogan, já estou a perceber.
Yeah.
Ele ouviu o Fernando não dá, é o leite que está metido, o 700 escutado só.
Yeah. Dá o S logo.
Porque a 50 fixa vai ver a diferença. Filha da mãe, manda-me os...
Grava isto como deve ser.
Manda-me os projetos.
senhor é o cargo.
Pleasure to meet you. Great pleasure. I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that.
É uma honra e um prazer tê-lo aqui. Nós defendemos o multilateralismo. Ninguém é senhor absoluto da verdade.
We're here at the invitation of my dear friend and the government of Portugal, President de Sousa, and the government of Portugal, for this state visit, whose ultimate objective is to once again inject new and fresh impetus into a relationship, as he has said, that has existed for over 500 years. The partnership between Kenya and Portugal goes all the way back to the time of Vasco da Gama, when he came and was the first European to land on East African shores, well before the British, who later came and dominated us. But well before then, it was the Portuguese. And there are clear monuments that are there. The Vasco da Gama pillar that is in Malindi. We have Fort Jesus, where the king authorized that a fort be built, which is today one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. That again was a footprint of the Portuguese well before anybody else from Western Europe ever set foot on our continent. And we're here to really re-energize that partnership. Re-energize a partnership in terms of increasing our people-to-people interactions, increasing trade between our two nations, increasing investment between our two nations. But on top of that, we've also had the opportunity together to co-chair the Second Oceans Conference. Again, something that brings us closer together. We are two countries that depend on the ocean. It is an integral part of who we are. It is an integral part of our economy. An ocean that is today looking at extinction if action is not taken to reverse what man has done to it in order to be able to protect it for the future. So it has been wonderful being here, engaging with the President and engaging with all delegations from all parts of the world as we raise the alarm bells of the need for action today in order to protect future generations. And what we're doing today is not new. And that is one of the things that I want to congratulate my dear friend for. This is something that he has been passionate about all the way from when we first engaged on the issue. Not necessarily being the popular thing, but the right thing. And he has continued to advocate for us to really re-engage with our environment and with nature. And towards that end, he has a partner in me, and Portugal has a partner in Kenya. It is our hope that through this meeting and through further engagements that we're going to be having, we will see an increase in the number of investors, tourists, and trade opportunities that will come from this. We also need to focus on investments that promote sustainability and protection while delivering decent jobs and incomes. Ocean-based tourism or circular economy projects that regenerate the ecosystems can restore and protect the ocean while delivering jobs and prosperity. And lastly, there is need to develop innovating financing instruments, which while profit-making, also provide incentives to conserve and protect our ocean. This would also create incentives for investors in terms of the three items I have just highlighted. Innovative financing requires close collaboration between public and private sectors. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you deliberate on these issues, I urge you to bear in mind that the aim is to design investments which shall ensure that environmental protection, economic production, and shared prosperity go hand in hand. And in this context, allow me to raise 4 issues for your consideration. The first is how to handle upfront costs for investments in energy. Shipping have considerable upfront costs incurred for research, technology development, and demonstration projects to determine viability of investment and make product costs competitive, but also environmentally sustainable. How should funding of these investment costs be managed to ensure that it does not deny access to owners of the assets, thereby making access to the ocean resources inequitable? Second, there is need to also tighten the rules and procedures for harvesting these resources, and in particular, those that lie outside the national areas of jurisdiction. We in Kenya welcome the progress that has been made by the WTO to develop global consensus on how to contain illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. The stocks of bluefin tuna have really gone down to almost 5% of what they originally were at some point. So this is just an illustration of the kind of challenges that we face from IUU. The illegal extraction of fish resources in waters belonging especially to poorer nations by fishing trawlers whose owners are provided heavy fishing subsidies by their governments, destroy fish stocks, and leads to inequitable utilization of our ocean's resources. Kenya remains one of the most attractive investment destinations on the African continent and one of the fastest growing economies on our continent. And our economy is projected to rebound strongly from the COVID-19 pandemic, with a growth rate projected at around 6% for this fiscal year of 2022. We also stand out as a pro-business, private sector-driven economy, and our entrepreneurial and technologically savvy youth are the bedrock of our economy, of our country. And I do agree with you that if we can truly work together, there is no reason why these young people of our two countries, I believe you also have the youngest population in Europe as well, our two young people can really become that future. Innovation drives our country, and that is driven by the youth. And I do look forward to a time when we can put these two together and stop talking about startups as we celebrate unicorns both in Lisbon and in the Silicon Savannah. Our political stability as well as a conducive business environment have attracted many international organizations to establish their regional headquarters in Nairobi. Notably, Kenya hosts the global headquarters of the United Nations Environment Program. And indeed, on this trip, we are also accompanied by a large number of business leaders representing some of the most dynamic sectors of our economy. And we're very hopeful that tomorrow, when they meet their Portuguese counterparts, they will establish business-to-business links. And with these leaders, the ability then to explore new opportunities for trade and investment between our two countries. Kenya and Portugal have historically enjoyed very deep and cordial relations. This is a relationship that we cherish, and which my visit to Portugal this time seeks to strengthen and extend. In this context, our two nations have this morning concluded a number of bilateral instruments that I believe will further deepen our diplomatic as well as our business ties. We seek to foster cultural cooperation with Portugal through arts, craft, and language, cultural exchanges, especially for our youth, building on our historical and cultural ties. And when I say that, I refer especially to the fact that it is from this city that the first European set foot on our coastline in Mombasa, Vasco da Gama. So we were the first white people we ever saw. Yeah. So we believe that that was the beginning of what can be even greater today. We were started by our ancestors. We have a destiny that we need to hand over to generations.
The ocean is the next investment frontier, and it contributes about 1.5 trillion US dollars to the global economy each year, and its asset value is estimated at anywhere around 24 trillion US dollars. Further, the ocean is also a source of food for billions, and it is also a large untapped source of green energy. Before the onset of COVID-19, tourism was projected to become the single largest ocean-based industry by the year 2030. And as we've already heard, shipping moves over 90% of all global goods and is vital to the international trade and connectivity. So I'm therefore pleased to note that this forum will, amongst other things, raise awareness of the importance of the oceans and other marine ecosystems as a source of high quality and authentic blue economy products and valuable investment opportunities. It will also provide a platform for enterprises to showcase and promote blue economy products, provide a platform for private sector to meet, network, and do business with their counterparts here in Portugal, but also globally. And also provide an opportunity to learn about best practices in blue economy industry, including its enabling circular economy and value chains. And our hope is that they will recommend mechanisms for the establishment of blue economy investment funds, as we heard from the Undersecretary, for sustainable blue economy investments.
We've seen the role of Kenya in the African Union. We've seen the role of Kenya as an intermediary in the case of major international issues. We see Kenya as being the co-host of this major conference, the Ocean Conference. All this, I think, demonstrates that this is a young country with a future and a country that looks ahead, far ahead into the future. Kenya sees further ahead. Kenya understands the main structural lines for humanity. It's a key can be a key mediator in arbitration. It is a platform, it can be a bridge between different states, different communities, and different views of the world.
A visita é especial por se tratar de presidente.
This visit is of course special because this is a very
Não apenas
special
porque foi uma visita
president,
combinada
not
entre
just
nós.
because it's a visit that we
setembro
have
de 2019.
arranged in September of 2019, but then the pandemic
Mais de 2
meant
anos.
we had to postpone this meeting for more than 2 years. But now you are here.
É especial o presidente porque soube
The president is special also because he has been able to express
ligado
a historical
ele próprio
legacy.
à afirmação do Quênia como grande
When he says that
potência
Kenya is a major
mas sobre
independent
recriar o
power,
legado histórico.
but he's been able to
Sobre ser ele próprio
recreate history and be
campeão
a
dos
major
oceanos,
champion
campeão da ação
for the oceans,
climática,
for climate change,
campeão do
a champion
entendimento entre
for
povos,
the understanding between peoples,
campeão do diálogo
a
dentro
champion
da África
of
e entre o
dialogue
continente africano e outros
within the
continentes.
African continent.
But the urgency, my friends, the urgency of our getting this right, not in the next 10 years, 15, but now, in this decade, for the simple reason that this effort to respond to the crisis of climate is not driven by geopolitics, it's not driven by ideology, it's not driven by nation-state competition. It is driven by science, by mathematics, by physics, with some chemistry and biology, but basically science. And in 2018, the scientists warned us that we being people who can vote, people in positions of responsibility, people in governments, we had 12 years within which to make and implement the key decisions to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis. Remember, I said worst consequences, not to avoid the crisis altogether. So what we decide to do in these next 8 years will govern the kind of world that we live in, and it will govern whether or not we can even achieve net zero by 2050. If we don't do enough between now and 2030, we don't achieve the 45% reduction that scientists have said is necessary to avoid the worst consequences. And if we don't achieve the 45% between now and 2030, you cannot achieve net zero by 2050, barring some technology that comes online that does direct air carbon capture and either utilization or storage so that we can avoid what we're putting up into the atmosphere. So that's what's driving this. That's why we're here. Because the oceans are integrally related to the climate crisis. The oceans are suffering principally because of the heat. 90% of the warming of the earth goes into the ocean. It is a great sink for carbon dioxide. And certain things we choose to do or don't choose to do will have an impact on how the ocean responds.
Upper Happy Gardens, it is becoming so beautiful. It's becoming a masterclass place. So tunasema, if you're really interested in getting property that is 4-star, come to Happy Gardens.
Yes.
Tumeweka kila kitu. Kwanza acha nikwambie tumeweka miti ya stima. Tumeweka transformer.
Yes.
Sasa inamaanisha stima iko. Number 2, tumefence kila mahali round with mesh link na concrete poles. That means the place is secure.
Yes.
Now after hiyo fence yote tumeweka gate kwanza 2, A na B.
Yes.
So meaning the place is secure.
Yes.
Number 3, we've done compacted maram roads. Hizi barabara ni zile zenye inyeshe isinyeshe ukuje na gari ina gani hawezi kwama. So it is a proper place for you to invest. Number 4, we have done the borehole. Maji iko.
Yes,
maji umeiona.
Yes,
alafu unaona kwa barabara huku kando tumeweka pipe inapitia kila plot. So ukikuja kazi yako tu ni kulipa connection fee. Then you get water in your plot. So hiyo ni kuonyesha kwamba hakuna siku utakosa maji katika hii property. Yes?
Yes.
Number 5, tumepanda miti. Miti along the streets.
Yes.
Na nikidhani umeona pahali tumepanda miti imefuata barabara.
Yes, ziko kando.
Ziko kando.
Yeah.
Sasa tumepanda miti. We have something called greening in Optiven. Tunahimiza watu wapande miti. Tunajaribu kupunguza venye environment inakuwa destroyed. So we are planting trees. The 4th thing that we are going to do in this project, hiyo ndio kitu imebaki kwa hii project. Kitu moja tu. Solar street lighting.
Yes.
Na hiyo tunakuja kuweka. Tukisema tunaweka. Hata ukiingia uko ndani unapata tumechimba.
Yes.
Solar inakuja hapa. So ukiwa hapa usiku utadhania uko pale kuna jua pale. It is going to be well lit. Hasa unaweza tembea usiku na amani. Yes.